Jimmy Poindexter. Now, shout out Jimmy. He's a rapper, heavily inspired by Tyler, the Creator, and Kendrick, and he makes that pretty clear in his music, wears his influences pretty heavily on his sleeve. And I've been keeping up with his music ever since Anthony Fantano reviewed his album, reviewed it fairly positively, and that's what put me onto him, and I've been listening to him ever since, at least checking out his albums. But to be honest, his albums have not been getting better, in my opinion. To me, they kind of feel stuck in the mid-2010s. Some of his work is better than others. He's dropped some really good singles here and there the last couple years. You know, I have high hopes for his work in the future. But with that being said, he posted this, started writing this verse last year for Age of Healing off my newest album, Cruel World, mostly inspired by this comment from Anthony Fantano I found odd. It felt unfair to me and people like me who come from similar backgrounds because I couldn't help that I was speaking on my real life. So yeah, the message was rooted in a similar space of pain and healing for a few albums because that was my reality. Obviously, he doesn't have to like me or the music, but it made me feel like he didn't give my stuff the same grace as established artists and actually listen, or he was just oblivious to that struggle. But you know, I don't got beef with bro. He should love at a time. He ain't have to at one point. I'll always remember. Just was disappointed by that comment, so I held my tongue and kept it in the music. Now, before we even get into the rest of this video here, Jimmy is not getting it. He's not understanding the point of critique. It's not as personal as it feels to him in this moment. It's not that personal. It's more of like a business transaction with what Anthony does. But when you react like this to him giving his honest opinion on the art that you've created, like you're taking it way too personal. To claim that Anthony isn't giving your stuff the same grace that he gives quote unquote established artists lets me know that you have no idea about Anthony's content. Like you don't understand his underlying logos with how he operates his channel. Sure, you could claim that he has bias in one way or another, but to claim that he gives more established artists more grace doesn't make any sense. Jimmy is as established, if not more established, than some other artists that Anthony has reviewed positively. So they're just pretty silly points right out the gate.
In 2024, this account shared this video.
It says, quote, I thought Anthony Fantano's comment was insensitive and unfair, so I responded in this verse.
Anthony Fantano on YouTube.
And by the way, I remember watching this in February of 2024. I saw this video just naturally.
Jimmy albums. I listened to the last one. He's kind of spinning his wheels in the mud, in my opinion.
Jimmy, Anthony has a point here, dog.
Pen game wise, he's not getting better, in my opinion. Like he's not improving since his breakout record. I feel like his message hasn't really changed or evolved all that much either. I think he's kind of repeating himself a little bit, album to album.
I wasn't tripping that he didn't like any of the albums at the time. My issue was that like either he clearly didn't listen and spoke on it publicly, or like his idea of the lyrics was just very insensitive. For like 3 albums straight, a good 70 to 80% of the lyrics were just about how I was abused and neglected as a child.
That's sad. I didn't know that about Jimmy, and I'm sad to hear that about Jimmy, that he was abused and neglected as a child, and as he goes on to say here,
and almost killed by my parent.
Almost killed by his parent as a child? That's horrific, dude. I wouldn't wish that on my worst enemy. But just because the content of the lyrics is sad and true and personal doesn't mean that Anthony Fantano is missing the point when he says that he doesn't feel like you're growing lyrically. When he says he doesn't feel like you're growing lyrically, it's not about the themes of the lyrics, Jimmy. It's about how you put those lyrics together, right? So you feel like it's cruel that Anthony didn't like the way that you put those words together. You feel like that's cruel because of what the words are about, but Anthony's point isn't about what the words are about. The English language is infinitely complex and has so many different options of ways to say the same thing. He just didn't like the way you said it, even though what you said is really sad and really personal, and I'm sorry that you went through that. And you seem like a really good guy.
As a child. And pretty much how I dealt with everything that came with that, like the depression and everything, and just pretty much overall how my life sucks up to this day because of it. So
hey, my life sucks too, dog. My life sucks too.
And it like fried me because bro just dismissed all of that and said lyrically I wasn't getting better. It was just very odd.
If all it took was for me to write about the saddest thing that's ever happened to me to be considered good or better, it'd be really easy. A lot of shitty stuff has happened in my life that I could write about. That's not how it works.
Say about the lyrics if we're talking about that, you know, which I can go all day about how that's just a terrible take altogether, but you know, but anyway.
It's his personal opinion, dude. It's not a terrible take. For you to call it a terrible take is about as biased as one can get because you're talking about your own music. Like, come on.
That's what inspired this verse.
I mean, this is a goofy ass, silly ass, goofy ass video. I'm curious what the comments are like. We'll get into them, but
Rainbows and lollipops around this motherfucker for that upper middle class, heavy metal, brass tacks, thin lines that we skating on.
this is Age of Healing by Jimmy Poindexter.
Still win, that's what they hating on. Okay, but what you going through? Shit, same old. I heard my wheels stuck in the mud.
Okay, storytelling going on here. Kind of basic flow. The beat's nice. This isn't a bad song, but it's not breathtaking. It's not blowing me away. It's not groundbreaking. It's honestly one that I might skip over just out of boredom, for real. But with all that being said, there's a lot of substance there, and I appreciate that. But substance alone doesn't make a song great. Substance alone doesn't make the lyrics next level. Jimmy's point there is very shaky. Like, I don't know where his head's at with this. It's clearly like some insecurity, depression. I get it. When Fantano reviewed his first Jimmy project, that was around 2022, Ghetto Land, that might have been the one, Fantano reviewed it pretty favorably. That was random. Jimmy probably wasn't expecting that at all. Got him feeling on top of the world, like, hey, Fantano fucks with me. But the thing with Fantano is he's a critic, and you can't really tell his next move, and that's the secret sauce with Fantano, why his content is so interesting. You can't really ever predict Fantano's next move. It's kind of difficult. If you're trying to make music to just please this one person, Fantano, who's extremely articulate, but he doesn't want to be pinned down, right? His music taste is very eclectic, and it doesn't like to be pinned down. Like, why are you so worried about it, man? Listen, Jimmy, Fantano has been shitting on Kevin Abstract's latest projects. The founder of Brockhampton. Fantano was one of the first to start putting people onto Brockhampton, gave Saturation Trilogy very high scores. Fast forward to today, he gave Blush a somewhat low score. He gave the last couple Brockhampton albums pretty low scores. Kevin's still doing his thing. He's not out here crying on Instagram about Fantano's dislike of The Family by Brockhampton. Come on, let's read the comments. But it is the same topic, Jimmy. I think people understand that you've gone through and can feel for you, but the message does need to change for your records to be dynamic. Jimmy's about to get a harsh dose of the truth here in these comments, I can tell. I'll tell you one thing about his last album. I did not like it. The one that came out last year. It had this weird Kendrick AI on it, and it also was just like a really corny theme. You know the game Clue? He structured his album like a game of Clue, where it's like a murder mystery, like a whodunit with these like corny skits. Nah, bro. I think I listened to that one live on stream, actually. You're one of the most talented artists I've found through the internet, but I feel like you do have to change the messaging. I feel for you and see you've been through a lot. I was in a similar situation recently where I felt like a victim of life. You have to stop being a victim, bro, and just be the talented person you are. The world is not against you. That's been my thing with Fantano. We listen to him because we think there's some type of objectivity to evaluating music. The truth is, though, a lot of the times Fantano reviews music that's not for him. That's true, but if he doesn't want to listen to something, if he doesn't think that there's inherent value in listening to it, he's not going to review it. I also don't think he reviewed the last Jimmy Poindexter album. He did a Why You Know review or mentioned it in passing, so I assume he didn't think it was terrible, he didn't think it was amazing, like he just kind of thought it was middle of the road, and so he's not going to review it. Like, I don't even think he was exceptionally cruel. This person continues on in the comments. I haven't watched him since he gave Testing a low score and some of the things he disliked. Great of an album, if you ask me. Another time when reviewing Wolf, he said Tyler yelling Bridge on Tree Home 95 was awkward and threw the vibe off. While I personally always loved that part of the song. Yeah, that's fair. I mean, Tyler's clearly grown on Fantano, so I mean, sure. And that happens for me too. I don't always like an artist right off the bat. Fantano's a person too, man. Think about how you consume music. Like, are you out here just fucking falling in love with music immediately, or sometimes does it take a few listens to get into it, or a few albums even by an artist to get into them? Just because Fantano has a fucking take that's a little bit different than yours doesn't mean that he's inherently wrong. Like, this music shit is so subjective. It's subjective between my own personal listens, dude. I'll listen to a song one night, sleep, come back to it the next day, and have a completely different opinion on it. Happens almost every day. That's why I listen to songs multiple times before I decide if I'm keeping them around or not. The last little comment here, shout out JavaScripts. They go, I'm not saying it's a race thing, but sometimes Anthony just does not get the music because it was not made for him. Here's some love. You're extremely talented, Jimmy. Art is therapy, and if you need to use your exceptional talent to work through what has happened, then please do. I think the critique is valid from an outsider's standpoint who wants you to explore more areas and witness you grow. It's harsh, but I think with the subject matter you're talking and living through, any critique may feel insensitive. Making this video is good to open the conversation up. I like the love that he's giving him there, and then also I do appreciate Jimmy opening this conversation up, even though it is a little whack to be crying over what Anthony says about your music. I appreciate you speaking your mind, man. And Jimmy, if you're out there, if you're listening, I'm here for you. We talk about you because we're interested in what you're doing. I am keeping up with the music. I'll tell you guys what. Let me recommend you a Jimmy song. He dropped some heat just like within the last couple years. In 2023, You Not Me.
Yeah. With this nigga, man.
not me. You not me.
Jimmy, make bangers, bro. Everybody's got some sad shit that happened to him, and I want to hear that, but I also want to hear this shit. Find more beats like this.
You not me.
I mean, this is 2 years old. It sounded hella fresh.
You not on my level, ho. I'm walking over top. Even underdogs could dethrone you from your spot.
And you know what? This album here, Do What Makes You Happy, not terrible. Shazam, pretty fucking good. Jimmy, he's killing shit. I mean, just within the last couple of years.
Then your shit
Gangsta?
ain't jamming. Gangsta, I'm such a big gangster. Let's talk about guns, selling drugs. I'ma thank you.
Okay, but where it started to fall apart for me was last year. Don't Look Behind You, this album was not it. It was a step in the wrong direction, but he dropped some good singles last year. So yeah, Jimmy, we love you. Don't take it so personal, man. It's just music reviews. It's just critiques. It is what it is.